Hello there, this is Benny.
And this is Kyle.
And you are listening to The Doctor's Watcher,
the Beatles enthusiasts podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
Heck yeah, oh man, we are Beatles enthusiasts.
Indeed. I have been listening to Beatles ever since, junior high, I think, probably.
I love me do some Beatles. Yeah. Couldn't think of a better one than that, sorry. And I know that I don't know how the Beatles will be involved in this one, but I know that it wouldn't be the first time the Beatles have come up on Doctor Who, because we straight up saw a performance on our time-space visualizer in a previous episode. So
that's true.
We know we have some fans among the production staff.
A performance that might be rare because of copyright and all that stuff.
Yeah. Amazing. So, besides listening to the Beatles, what else have you been up to?
So, earlier this week, I had this thing where my neck was all sore, especially when, I turned it to the right.
I have that happen sometimes, except for me, it's to the left. Please continue.
And then it got better, and it was good for a couple of days. And then I moved my head slightly yesterday, and now my neck's really sore again, especially if I try to look down.
Okay, well, you're still facing mostly toward your microphone, and I can hear you fine. I'll tell you if that changes. Man, I've had that too. I'll just be sitting there reading my iPad or something, and then I'll just move my head slightly, and I can feel this in my neck, and that's I'll be oh shit, one quick moment of not paying attention, and I'm going to be paying for that for the next 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
It straight up sucks. Yeah. Kyle and I are both not young, and this is par for the course. For those of you listeners who are young, please enjoy your youth.
Indeed. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before or not, but it's times like these that I think of the episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where the barrel falls on Worf and then Dr. Crusher gives him a new spine.
Yeah.
It's I would like Dr. Crusher to give me a new spine.
Well, I don't know if I'd actually seen that episode the first time you mentioned it to me, but I've seen it since. It's an amazing episode. It's called Ethics. It might be my favorite Dr. Crusher episode. And what I didn't realize at the time is that it's an experimental surgery that another surgeon, not Dr. Crusher, but someone who's visiting the Enterprise, performs. And Crusher is incredibly against it. It's not guaranteed to work. Like I said, it's experimental. And the interplay between Crusher and the guest surgeon, and then of course, meanwhile, Worf is dealing with his own thing. Fantastic episode. Highly recommended. One of the best TNGs, I think, out of all of them.
It's actually been years since I've watched it, and I had completely forgotten about that aspect of it. It being another doctor and Crusher being against it. So I need to watch it again.
Excellent. I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. Well worth.
Yeah, it is a really good episode.
So when not awaiting your turn in the med bay, was there anything else that you've been up to that you wanted to share?
I officially got to Act 2 in Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice, congratulations. I'm still so far behind, and not only that, but I've been sort of two-timing it on Baldur's Gate 3, because I've also been playing Rogue Trader, which is
nice.
Another RPG. It's kind of objectively not as polished a game and not as ambitious in terms of the graphics and the amount of things that you can do, but I really enjoy the setting. I love the writing, and I think the characters are fantastic. So I've actually really been enjoying that. So it's been kind of me going back and forth between the two games.
Nice. Yeah, Baldur's Gate's been the main game I'm playing at the moment, but I haven't had a whole lot of time for gaming in general recently, so
Yeah, same. I had a week off, and I played a ton of video games. But since then, I've had to kind of get a little half hour here and there as I can.
Nice.
So I know what I'm doing in my next half hour or so-ish. I mean, I think our show tends to run somewhere between half an hour and like 50 minutes. So I am finding out about Doctor Who.
Indeed. This is the 36th episode of season 3. Johnny Ringo.
Oh, he sounds like a bad man, that Johnny Ringo.
And, of course, it's the 3rd episode of the serial The Gunfighters.
And won't you tell us when it comes to season 3, episode 36, Johnny Ringo, the 3rd episode of The Gunfighters? How'd you watch it?
The Gunfighters is a BritBox serial.
Yes. All 4 episodes. Should I still keep asking?
I mean, there's only a 4th episode after this, so...
Yeah, and I should probably stay in the habit, because if I skip an episode, I'll forget to do it after that. I am very much a creature of habit. So, yeah, sounds like you watched it on BritBox.
I did indeed. I almost watched it from... shall we say, my private collection, but then I remembered that it was on BritBox and was like, oh, that's probably better to watch it there.
Sounds like you too are a creature of habit.
Will you remind us of our cliffhanger?
Yes, indeed. Well, our heroes are in a spot of trouble in the Old West, in Tombstone, the Old Westiest of Old West towns. Those no good, low down, dirty Clantons are out to get them. Specifically, they're out to get the Doctor, whom they believe is Doc Holliday, or at least they used to. Do they still? I think they still do.
Yeah, they still seem to, I think.
Okie doke. Well, they're out to get him. He is in the prison building, sort of the police marshal's office. I'm not quite sure what to call it, with Mr. Werp and Bat Masterson. The Clantons are out to get him, and they're yelling at him to come out and face them. And if they don't, then they're going to kill Stephen, whom they've got. They've captured Stephen, and they've tied him up on a horse. So,
indeed.
Yeah. Stephen's dangling, and we're dangling with him. It's a bit of a horse dangler this week.
So the Doctor wants to go outside and try to convince the mob that he's not actually Doc Holliday. But Werp won't let him, basically.
Dang it.
I guess it's too dangerous or whatever.
Well, it kind of is, yeah. I don't think it would go well for the Doctor if he tried that.
Yeah. So Werp decides to try to sneak around behind the mob. So he leaves out through the back of, I guess, the sheriff's office. And he leaves Bat Masterson, or Basterson.
What, seriously? Or is that just our name for him?
That's just my name for him.
Okay, cool. Because the Doctor did call Wyatt Earp Werp earlier.
Yeah, Werp is not our name. That's a canonical name for Wyatt Earp.
Excellent.
So he leaves Basterson with instructions to basically knock the Doctor out if he tries to go outside.
That's good advice. That might be what it takes. Also, that makes me think, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but would the Wyatt Earp Bat Masterson ship be Burp?
Burp or Wasterson?
That's also pretty bad. Maybe we did say that last time. I can't remember. Let us know, listeners. We can't remember our own jokes. And it's actually been 4 weeks then.
Yeah, that's true. We have an excuse.
Usual 3. Yeah, we pushed this one back a week.
The Doctor and the crowd outside are getting antsy.
Mm-hmm. And so are we, the audience. We want to know what happens next.
Outside, one of the Clanton brothers actually puts a noose around Stephen's neck.
Oh man, they're going to turn that into a gallows dangler.
They're getting ready to string him up when the Clanton brother gets knocked unconscious by Wyatt Earp pistol whipping him.
Nice.
And Werp's then able to pretty easily disperse the crowd from there.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I should be used to us resolving our cliff danglers pretty quick. But for some reason, I thought this one was going to take a little longer.
Well, the main crowd is dispersed, but a couple of Clanton brothers stick around.
Uh-oh.
One of the conscious Clanton brothers says that he's not leaving without Phineas, who's the unconscious one.
Okay.
But Werp says that Phineas is under arrest.
Phineas, a.k.a. Toad Clanton? Excellent.
Just then, the bartender shows up, telling the Clantons that the sheriff isn't holding Doc Holliday because Doc Holliday is back at the bar.
Yeah.
Werp is like, dude, shut the fuck up. Don't say anything. I'm trying to keep that on the DL, but he's unsuccessful.
Yeah. I get the sense that a lot of people in this serial care more about Doc Holliday's well-being than the doctor's.
The Clanton brother, I guess this is either Mario or Luigi Clanton.
Okay.
He's not sure if he should believe this bartender. He accuses the bartender of being drunk, but the bartender's like,
"Now I'm drunk. Your friend Seth Harper's still alive. Which he ain't."
Oh, shit. Wow, savage. I feel like that escalated real fast.
So, of course, the Clantons are oh, shit.
Yeah.
And they start heading back to the bar while Werp and Basterson gather up the unconscious Clanton and bring him into the sheriff's office.
Cool.
Of course, this entire serial is accompanied by, the ballad singer singing the song of the Last Chance Saloon to us, at every scene change.
Just gets worse every time.
And at this one, it sings,
"So pick him up gentle and carry him slow. He's gone kind of mental under Earp's heavy blow."
Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, I feel like it's probably slightly problematic to use the phrase "he's gone slightly mental," but it's these Clantons are getting dragged by everyone in this episode. Even the what was the term, non-diegetic music is dragging them.
So back in the sheriff's office, Stephen thanks Werp, and the doctor tells him that they're going to leave the next day.
Goodbye, Mr. Werp.
Oh, goodbye, Doc. Can't say I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid that the Wyoctor ship, I can't remember if we actually created one or not. That one just is not much wind in the sails of that ship.
yeah, Wyoctor is still kind of stuck at the harbor. Back at the saloon, Pa Clanton has arrived in town.
Uh-oh.
And he tells the Clanton brothers to go hire Johnny Ringo and pay him $500.
Oh, dang.
Oh, come on, Pa. Nobody's worth that. Not worth it? If I had the sons who could do the job without getting all fouled up, I wouldn't have to pay it. But I need a top gun.
Dang, it's just not a good day to be one of these Clantons.
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting dragged not only by the non-diegetic singer, but also by their own father.
All right, we're keeping track. That's the third drag so far.
And that's a $500 drag.
Oh, man, that's up there.
During this conversation, where Pa Clanton tells him to hire Johnny Ringo, they are also having shots of booze, which the bartender just like refills every time they shoot one.
Huh.
So
I guess the bartender took that quip about him being drunk personally. Now look who's drunk.
It's a brief conversation. I checked the time codes. It's under a minute. And during this time, Pa Clanton and Top Bro Ike, or Mario, have 4 shots each.
Well, it's a good thing it was all done in one take, or pretty much one take, back in the Doctor Who days, or those actors would have been having a rough time.
So they finish their chat, they leave the bar, and walk down the street, just as...
Stagger down the street.
Just as the Doctor and Stephen approach the bar from the other direction and head in.
Oh, excellent. Good timing there.
The bartender overhears the Doctor and Stephen talking to each other as they enter the bar, and they refer to Dodo. So the bartender informs them that she checked out of her room and she was with Doc Holliday when he killed Seth Harper and left.
Oh, dang.
Look, surely she left a message of some sort.
Now, mister, if you're involved in a killing, you don't leave no messages. You get.
That's a good point. But sometimes you might flip a coin to the bartender and say, sorry about the mess.
Oh, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So the Doctor says that Doc Holliday is his friend, and he starts to head off to go looking for him. Stephen's like,
Doctor, he's a gunman.
but he follows along anyway.
Yeah, I guess Gunman Who is a different TV show.
Doc Holliday, his girlfriend Kate, and Dodo are at a boarding house in the next town, basically. Kate thinks that they're too close to Tombstone, but Holliday is staying close on purpose so he can help Wyatt Earp out when the shit really hits the fan, and because he promised to get Dodo back to her friends.
Oh, all right. Well, he's not so bad after all.
He says he's going to go get some food for everyone, and he heads downstairs. Kate and Dodo hear a few gunshots, and then Doc Holliday comes back up the stairs carrying a tray of food.
It's all right, ladies, it's all right. I just ran into an old friend, and he kind of lost his appetite.
Dang. Ice cold.
Yeah, and I kept waiting for them to, follow up on that, but no, never happened.
I think that's just the way it was in the Old West. Or at least that's the way they think it was if they're TV writers in the BBC in the 1960s.
Hey, listeners. I just had my hard drive fail, and I lost some files, including my Season 3 Doctor's Watcher template project files. So instead of the usual mid-rolls for the rest of the season, you're getting this one, reminding you to back up your data. Also, tell your friends about this podcast and leave us 5 stars and a nice review. Thanks. Back to the show. Back at the saloon, a new guy that we haven't seen before walks in. And the bartender tells him that they're closed, and the new guy tells the bartender to open back up again.
Oh shit, is he dressed all in black by any chance?
He is, actually.
Alrighty.
It's, pretty fancy, black cowboy costume, but...
Nice.
The bartender, of course, recognizes him as Johnny Ringo.
And when he says the name, we get confetti and fireworks. It's a little hard to name an episode, after a character if you're going to have people saying that character's name, because, man, you're going to go right through that fireworks and confetti budget.
Yeah, seriously. And yeah, Johnny Ringo's like, never mind. I was going to try to do a Beatles accent, but I can't do it. Hi, I'm Johnny Ringo. Yeah, see, it doesn't work.
Now I understand why this was a Beatles enthusiast podcast. It's a Ringo, of course.
So the bartender starts pouring shots while he tells Johnny Ringo that the Clantons want to hire him to go after Doc Holliday. Turns out that Ringo is already going after Holliday himself, and he would kind of prefer to keep it that way, like just going after him himself.
Let me solo him.
Uh-huh. He tells Charlie the bartender to tell the Clantons that Holliday is his.
All right, so we got like a ring holiday. That works.
I'm into it, yeah.
If he brings along the person he thinks is Doc Holliday and the person who is Doc Holliday, you can get a threesome and keep the ship name. That'd be Ring Holiday squared.
Charlie the bartender mentions that he can't wait to see Wyatt Earp's face when he learns that Johnny Ringo is going against him.
Oh, dang it.
And Ringo's like, oh, are you going to tell him? And
a good question. Answer carefully, Charlie.
Charlie insists that he won't tell anyone.
That's what I would do as well.
Which Ringo agrees with. As
no. That's
draws,
right. You ain't telling nobody.
He draws his pistol and he murders Charlie the bartender.
Looks like drinks around the house, fellas.
I would say pour one out for a real one, but Charlie was still holding the bottle of booze when he died, so he poured one out for himself.
Oh, man. Rip.
This is also probably a good time to mention that Charlie the bartender was played by David Graham, who has also provided voices for Daleks in every Dalek serial that we've seen so far.
Well, looks like he just got exterminated.
R.I.P. Rest in pieces from having been exterminated. The next morning, in the boarding house in the next town over, Dodo starts asking Doc Holliday when they're going to head back to Tombstone, since he promised to take her back today.
Mm-hmm.
He starts equivocating, today, maybe tomorrow. So she grabs a gun off of the table and points it at him, telling him that they're leaving now.
Hell yeah, person of action.
Absolutely. He asks how she plans to get back if she shoots him, and she says that she'll try not to kill him and she'll just aim at his arm or something.
Quick thinking.
He informs her that she is currently aiming between his eyes, so she adjusts her aim, and he promises to get her back to Tombstone by nightfall.
Man, put that, on your resume. List that on your freaking tombstone. That you held Doc Holliday at gunpoint.
Seriously.
Got him to do what you wanted.
Kate comes in, and Holliday explains to her that he's taking Dodo back to Tombstone, and that Kate should stay here.
For the first time in my life, I have just been taken, beaten to the draw.
Oh, I honestly didn't want to have to shoot you.
And I didn't want to have to shoot you, neither.
And he reveals at this point that he's actually had his, small pistol in his jacket pocket trained on her the whole time, and she faints.
Oh, well, I mean, it was still badass, and I would probably faint at that point too. So I'm not deducting any badass points for that.
She still gets the inspiration for person of action.
Exactly, man. It's just cool to think sometimes of the things our characters have done throughout history. Like Ian was knighted by Richard the Lionheart, and now Dodo has gotten the draw on Doc Holliday. Like this to me is really the core, the point of these historical episodes.
Yeah.
So our characters can do stuff like that.
Yeah, seriously.
It rules. I love it. I'm here for it. Excellent.
So Stephen and the doctor head downstairs into the bar where they find Johnny Ringo sitting at a table, and Charlie the barman is still sprawled across the counter.
Oh, dang. That's quite an entrance.
Uh-huh.
High living and hard liquor.
It don't pay.
Yeah, but he's been shot.
Is that so?
Wow. Dang. This guy.
Ringo learns that Stephen and Doctor are also looking for Doc Holliday. So, for some reason, he decides to invite them to ride with him, even though we just previously established that he likes to work alone.
Well, I mean, like, when he saw their handsome faces and got to know their winning dispositions, of course he wanted to join the party.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile, Werp has been waiting for his brothers to show up to, help him against the Clantons. But apparently Morgan and Virgil both couldn't make it, leaving just Warren to help, or Little Werp.
I was going to say Merp and Verp.
One way and another, seems lucky you got me around. And Morgan's been teaching me how to handle a gun.
Yeah, something tells me this guy's not going to be much of an asset.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Wyatt kind of agrees with you. He's not really into this. He thinks that Warren is too young and inexperienced.
Am I picturing like a teenager at this point?
I mean, hard to say because of 60s casting, but definitely no older than like 25.
Okay.
Plausibly a teenager.
Yeah, so probably 25 playing a teenager is what you're saying.
Probably, yeah.
Gotcha.
The doctor shows up and he tells them all that Johnny Ringo is in town and that Stephen is with Johnny Ringo looking for Dodo and Doc Holliday. And of course, the law people are all upset to hear that Ringo's here too.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah. Little Werp is like, what about John and Paul and George? Maybe that's what we should be calling the Clanton brothers.
It's too late. They're the Mario brothers.
They're already Mario and Luigi and Toad.
And I mean, Johnny Ringo isn't actually related to them, so
that's true.
We can have the long-awaited, much-rumored crossover episode between the Beatles and Super Mario Brothers.
Uh-huh. Of course, speaking of Toad, he's still in the jail cell in the sheriff's office. So
yeah,
he's like here this whole time as they're talking about all this. And the doctor also reports the murder of Charlie the bartender.
Uh-huh. So
Werp and Basterson leave Little Werp in charge of the sheriff's office and, in charge of Toad Clanton as the two of them head to the scene of the crime.
I'm sure that's going to go super well for Little Werp.
Uh-huh. That evening, or it's kind of unclear what time things happen in this serial, but at some point,
yeah,
Stephen and Johnny Ringo have made it to the next town over. They split up to search the town for Doc Holliday, and Johnny Ringo ends up finding Kate.
Uh-oh.
Now, I don't remember if we covered this or not, but Kate and Johnny Ringo are former lovers.
Oh, dang. Oh, yeah. No, I think that she was listing, like, that she'd known them all.
Oh, yeah.
All these men of the Old West or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And like Doc Holliday's the most gentlemanly or whatever.
The least worst.
Kate starts lying to him. She tells him that Doc Holliday left her to go off with a prettier girl to New Mexico.
I see Kate ships Dodaliday. Or at least she pretends to for the purpose of this scene.
So Johnny Ringo basically kidnaps Kate and tells her to get packed because she's coming with him. She objects, but she drops the objections when he pulls his gun on her.
That's a pretty good argument.
So he goes off to tell Stephen about the change of plans while Kate goes off to get packed.
Dang. This guy's ruthless.
Back at the sheriff's office, Toad Clanton is basically taunting Little Werp about being too young for all this responsibility that they're giving him.
You're too young for all this responsibility they're giving you. I've had my very terrible Toad impression ready to go ever since we decided to name him that. He hasn't had any lines.
Nice. So he is able to pretty easily distract Little Werp. And as Little Werp is distracted by being taunted, Mario and Luigi Clanton burst in through the front door of the sheriff's office. And
keep going, Kyle. They offer Little Werp a spot of tea. No, a hand of cards? No, that doesn't seem right either. Should I keep guessing? I'll let you tell us what it was.
Invite him back to the saloon for drinks. No,
It may be in the same way that they that the bartender got some drinks.
They basically order him to get the keys, like for the jail cell and whatever. And he starts reaching for the keys, which are on the sheriff office desk, but then he goes for the gun that's on the sheriff office desk instead of the keys.
Oh, that seems like a bad idea.
And we hear the sound of a gun shot, and then Little Werp goes down.
Well, I'll have to ask the temporary bartender to pour one out for Little Werp then.
As Mario and Luigi Clanton unlock the cell, and the non-diegetic singer sings about it being curtains for Warren.
Oh, dang. The words on the screen say...
Next episode, the OK Corral.
Oh, shit. I mean, we all knew that's where this was headed.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. All right. Well, this is an entertaining serial. I like the, all-stars, Old West all-stars that we're getting in this serial. All of whom were at least, I think, tangentially related to Tombstone and the OK Corral, from what I could tell from some very quick Wikipedia skimming. Yeah. Rip to Charlie the bartender, rip to Little Werp.
Rip to whoever Doc Holliday murdered and took their tray of food.
Yeah, I'm seriously like, I hope that wasn't like, the serving person trying to bring that up to them or something.
Yeah, like they would have just gotten it 30 seconds later if they had just waited.
I mean, I'm sure that it implies that was some varmint that got. All right, cool. Well, this is, if nothing else, it's a fun one to listen to so far. Did you have any notes for us, Kyle?
So I have two notes. One is just that apparently the actor who plays Johnny Ringo, or I guess like the character of Johnny Ringo, and the actor was sort of featured as like the main guest star in this serial, even though he only appears in like the second half of it, basically.
Maybe it's a more well-known actor or something.
Yeah, who knows?
To people who are not us, obviously.
And, he actually did have, for the most part, one of the better American accents. He slips a few times, but I think he does a better job than most of the others.
That's not saying much for the others. And man, some of his lines are like, oh, he's so creepy, but he's so cool. He's a bad man, but he's good at being bad.
And my other final note is that we are starting to get pretty close to the end of season 3.
Indeed.
So if our listeners have any thoughts or questions or ideas for a season 3 wrap-up show, they should send them to us.
Yes, please. Anything. Literally anything. It doesn't even have to be specifically about this season or whatever. Anytime you have anything you want to share with us, we're always just like over the moon. Like you don't even know, listeners. We're over the moon for any listener interaction. And there's a couple of you who interact with us like fairly regularly, and we love and appreciate you. And there's some of you who, write in every once in a while or maybe just once. And we love and appreciate you too, actually. We love and appreciate all our listeners. Even if you haven't written in yet, we love and appreciate you.
I happened to be looking at whatever that social media app is called, like J or something.
Oh, yeah. A, B, C. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
D, E, F.
I was looking at that earlier today, and for, like the first time in weeks, and happened to see that on the Doctor's Watcher account there was a notification, and so I looked at it, and somebody had mentioned us like a week or two ago.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I liked their tweet. I liked their tweet and I replied to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, person. And again, sorry we're not on the GHIJK anymore. But yeah, I'm sure you understand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for those notes, Kyle. With that, we would like to thank Circuit 23 for the awesome theme song that he made for us. You can check him out on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, or email him at circuit.23@gmail.com. And thank you, Kyle, for watching Doctor Who and telling me all about it.
And thank you, Benny, for listening to me talk all about Doctor Who.
And thank you, listeners, for listening to me listen to Kyle talk about Doctor Who. We'd love to hear from you. I think we've already kind of established that. But in addition to LMNOP, you can also reach us at thedoctorswatcher@gmail.com. And with that,
come back in 2 weeks.
Saddle up and and we'll see you then.
And find out if this corral is great or just okay.
Excellent. Bye.
Bye.
Pardon me, but are you alluding to your friend, Miss Dodo DuPont?
Of course.
Well, I'm sorry, folks, but she ain't in her room no more.
Right, whatever for?
On account she checked out a while back.
Checked out?
But she lit out after the killing with Doc Holliday. Was with him when he shot Seth Harper. Right where you're standing.
What, she was with Holiday?
Surely was. Him, her, and Kate lit out together. Friendly as you please.
Look, surely she left a message of some sort.
Now, mister, if you're involved in a killing, you don't leave no messages. You get. We've got to find her. Fast. Well, friend, you want to find her, you find Doc Holliday.
Now, don't be ridiculous. Doc Holliday's a great friend of mine. He gave me a gun. He extracted my tooth. Good gracious me, what more do you want? Come along, boy. Come along.
Doctor, he's a gunman. His next extraction's going to be a bullet.